Hi everyone, this is Shannon from theirishscrapper.com, and it is January again, so that means Stamp Club, and this month's Stamp Club is going to focus on these 3 cards. So to participate in my Stamp Club, all you need to have is a minimum $35 order in my online store, and you can order anything you'd like, or you can order the items that we use in today's projects. So as you can see, I am focusing on the new Party Animals Suite from the Occasions catalog. That is on page 4 and 5. I am recording this a couple days before the 4th to have available for you guys. So I cannot show you the inside pages just yet, but for those customers that do have their catalog, you'll be able to see that. So, like I said, it is on page 4 and 5. We are going to be using many of the products and supplies there. So, the color choices that we are going to be using today, as far as ink pads, are going to be Emerald Envy, Pacific Point, and Crushed Curry. And then you can see I'm also using a bit of Crumb Cake cardstock, as well as some of the Designer Series paper that coordinates with this suite. That's the Party Animal Designer Series paper. And here is the stamp set. It is called Balloon Adventures, and this is a photopolymer set, so that is the clear. And then you can purchase this as a bundle, and you will get the balloon pop-up thinlits. Let me show you what those look like. It is this set here, so you can see there's a large die, and this allows you to make that pop-up. We are not doing a pop-up for this this month's club, but if you do purchase the bundle, you'll be able to do that. You can see there's some balloons, your string. These are some, they can be used for tags. Here are some more ribbons, so very fun. So for Stamp Club, as I said, since the minimum order is $35, you can choose to purchase the stamp set, the Balloon Adventures, as well as the ink pads, if you do not already have those in your collection, and that will get you to the minimum of $35. So if you do have any questions, please let me know. I will put up a hostess code on the screen that you will need to use so that I know that you participated in club, and then I can send you the consumable materials to create these 3 cards. So none of the materials you get will be stamped, but they will be ready for you. So you will get a kit like this, which we're going to use, and of course you'll have a nice piece of, this is a scrap that we're going to use today. So you will have the materials to create these 3 cards, as you can see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our first card. We have a piece of Crumb Cake, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we will take our bone folder, give that a nice crease. Okay, I do have a piece of Whisper White, and this is cut 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and this is where we are going to do our stamping. And let me get some blocks here ready. Okay, so what I did to help myself align a little bit, I took my 3 balloons from the set, and I kind of lined them up for me to eyeball the placement. So you want to be sure you stamp so that you don't have a balloon that has fallen off. So let me pull in my Pacific Point, and we will start with this balloon with the dots. And I think I'm going to bring in my piercing pad, since these are photopolymer. I'm not too worried about the balloons, but some of the sentiments, it might be helpful for you. Okay, so let me stamp that. Looks good. I thought this would be a fun set to start with for 2017, as you know, everybody has birthdays in their lives, and it's always nice to have some cards available to use. And this is a very fun set. It can be used for males or females, which is also nice. Alright, let's start with this next balloon. We're going to pull out our Emerald Envy ink. And we're going to go about there. Hopefully I don't have ink on my fingers. I'm always worried about that when I'm doing the white. Okay, and then one more balloon. We're going to use our solid balloon image. Okay, and then this one I actually stamped off. So let me get a piece of scratch paper. We're going to bring in our crushed curry, and then we're going to ink this up. I just went a little bit lighter. So I have a piece of scratch paper here. I'm just going to stamp off, and then I'm going to come in here and put our balloon, just to get a little bit lighter tone. Okay, we can get rid of that. Alright, now we can move on to our strings for our balloons. And since I have the crushed curry out, I am going to start with this string. You do have two in here, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Actually, I think I'll start with the center balloon so I can see. So I'm going to use the other string that's a little bit more squirrely, like that. And I'm going to leave my crushed curry open because we'll be in that in a second. But I'm going to stamp in the Emerald Envy, and I'm going to use this on the center balloon. And I'm going to use the entire length. So I'm going to straighten out, and because it's photopolymer, I can kind of see the edge of my balloon stamp. Okay, perfect. And now we can pull in our crushed curry. So we'll switch to the other string. This one's a little bit less curly. And you could choose to stamp the whole length. I'm going to actually cut mine off a little bit. So let's for white here. So I'm going to ink up about half of my balloon so you can see where it stops. And then I'm going to kind of have it go towards that center string. Okay. And you'll see why as we continue. Okay, let me leave my crushed curry. We're going to do a bow. So there's lots of stamps in this set to use, which makes it fun. We're going to stamp our bow right there at the base of our string. Okay, now we can move on to our Pacific Point. I think this is a great color combination in this suite. Okay, I'll bring in that scrap piece of paper again, and now I know where it ended over here, so I'm gonna try to make that match up. Okay. That's okay, that's not touching. We'll use our banner. We will do now a bow with the Pacific Point as well. So let's bring that up. Looks good. Alright. Now we can work on our sentiment. So we are going to be using the Party On image. And we are going to stamp that in Emerald Envy on a piece of Tangerine Tangle. So I will have a piece, a nice cut piece for you that'll give you plenty of room for your image. So we are going to stamp this Okay. And then I am actually using my, let me see, this is called the Banner Duet, I believe. I'm going to use this to cut my banner. Let me just line that up. Okay, and I can punch this piece for you in your kit, and then you'll just need to stamp. And then we're going to use that right here. So you'll see that's what I meant by the strings from the balloon. You won't have to worry. As long as they end somewhere around there, they won't show, you know, through. So let's add some adhesive. Use my snail. Alright, and then I'm going to put that right there. Okay, and now we can adhere this to the front of our card. Alright, and then we're just going to center this. We have a little bit of border around the top and the bottom, so do your best there to line that up. Alright, so that completes the first project from this kit. Let me move on now to our second. So I think we will start with this one. So in your kit you will receive your card base, your designer series paper, your piece of white, as well as ribbon to do your knot. So let's go ahead and start on this one. So our card base is the crushed curry. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Our piece of designer series paper is 2 1/4 by 5, and then our white square is 3 3/4 square in the center. Add some snail. Make sure I'm straight. Okay. And then what I have done is I have taken my X-Acto and I've kind of eyeballed the center right on the score line. And I've made myself a little cut. And that is where I'm going to feed my ribbon. So I will have enough Emerald Envy ribbon in your kit. And I'm going to, let me see. So now you can see I'm going to give this a little cut here. Alright, and now my ribbon is through there. And then I'm going to tie a bow on this edge. I'm just going to turn this for myself. This lovely ribbon, it's skinny, but it lays, you know, very nicely on your project. And then you still are able, you know, to move it and straighten it out as you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our 3 3/4 square, and we are going to do our stamping. So we will start with our sentiment, and we are using this large sentiment, "Here's to another year full of adventures." We are going to stamp that in the Pacific Point. Let me put my ink there. I have to turn it sideways. This is a pretty big stamp, and I'm using block E for this. Hopefully you have that in your collection. Alright, and then I'm going to do it pretty much in the center. And I'm just going to give it a nice press. Because it's so large, I want to be sure I get a nice crisp image, which is why I have that piercing pad below me too. Perfect. Okay. Alright, now we are going to bring in our confetti stamp. And we are going to do some stamping with the crushed curry all along the bottom. And you can, hopefully you can see on the stamp, I am using where the two pieces come up, that is my top. And I'm going to stamp off a little bit, just fine. And you can do some lower and higher. I'm kind of mixing it up here. Oops. Okay. All right. Now we will bring in our Emerald Envy. And we are going to use that string again that only has, no curls in the center. We're going to stamp that here along the right edge. And we're going to do the whole string, so I inked the whole thing up. And then I'm going to stamp it about here. I rocked that a little bit, but that's okay. It still looks good. Alright, now you can see that goes up pretty high, but we are going to put a balloon there, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Here I have a scrap piece of Whisper White, and I am going to stamp our solid balloon image. Okay, in the Emerald Envy. Stamp that onto my Whisper White. Beautiful. Okay, and we're going to give that a moment to kind of dry. Now I'm also using our Craft White stamp pad on these projects as well. So if you do want to replicate them, I will have a product list with all the different components that I used. But we are going to stamp the circle balloon, this one here, the circles, over the Emerald Envy in the Craft White. And this will take a little bit to dry as well. Okay, so let's ink this up. Alright, and then I am going to punch this out. So this set also coordinates with our balloon punch. So if you choose to do the bundle, you will be able to die cut your balloons, or if you still have our balloon punch in your collection, you can use that as well. So I'm going to put our balloon here off. Alright, so let me bring in our card base. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set my balloon aside for a moment, give that a couple more minutes to dry. I'm going to add my adhesive. You also want to keep in mind here your sentiment, so you don't want that ribbon to cover up your sentiment. So I am going to cover up that DSP. Okay. And I still have plenty of room there for my balloon. So I am going to pull in some dimensionals. Alright, so that completes the second one. I did do some stamping on the inside, so I will show you that. Let me get my bone folder here and make a nice crease. So you can see in my original, I stamped another sentiment. No one deserves a happier birthday than you in the Emerald Envy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I kind of just feel like, sometimes it completes the project, doing a little bit of stamping on the inside as well. And I like this suite because of how the sentiments work so well together that way. Alright, so I'm going to ink that up in my Emerald Envy, and we will stamp it right there in the center. Looks good. Okay, so there is our second project done. We're moving right along here. Alright, so now we will go ahead and work on the third card. So as I said, in the kit you will have your card base. This is a piece of the Thick Whisper White, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Designer Series paper, and this is cut 4 1/4 by 5.5. So it is going to completely cover the whole front side of your card. I have a white, Whisper White piece that is going to back your die, and this is cut 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and that is going to go right behind our Emerald Envy piece. So let's start by adhering our Designer Series paper to the front of our card base. Okay, I think I missed. Yeah. Alright, and I'm sure it's probably hard to see that score line on camera. And because it is the thick Whisper White, I will score it for you. Okay. Alright, so there's our first. Now we can go ahead and adhere our white to the back of our die. So I will cut this for you. Again, I will not do any of the stamping, but you will get all the consumable products that we used in your kit to create these 3 cards. Alright, I think I'll add a little bit of fine tip glue just to my strings here. You will also get a Whisper White balloon punched for you, and we are going to stamp that balloon in the crushed curry. So let me bring back my solid balloon image. This will be a little balloon is going to go there on our project. Let me close up the ink. Now we're going to go back to using the craft ink here. So we can start with the dotted balloon. I'm going to set this one aside for the moment. Open up that craft ink, and we are going to stamp the dotted one here. Striped image. Let's ink that up. Okay, that one's going to go here. The craft ink is also a great ink to do embossing with, so just keep that in mind. Because it stays a little bit moister, you can use that as your base when you're embossing. Okay, alright, now we can do our sentiment, and we are going to use that Party On once again. Let me get a different Party On in the craft as well. And then we are going to stamp that right here in the center. Okay. Alright, let me close this up. And then we can probably adhere our balloon. I am not popping this up. You could use your dimensionals here. I'm just going to add some snail. And we are going to layer that balloon right there. Okay. And I can tell this is still wet, so let me just give it a moment. What we can do is stamp on the inside. So I used that same sentiment that we used on the second one to stamp in the center. So let me pull that in, and we can use our Emerald Envy. Line this up. You can do that while the front dries. you'll definitely want to give yourself a little bit more time when you do this on your own. Okay. And then we're going to line this up. You could also pop this up on dimensionals as well. Okay, so let me give this a nice crease. My bone folder. Alright, and that completes our 3 cards for this month's Stamp Club. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'm thankful to have you guys. Again, to participate in Stamp Club, all you need is a $35 minimum purchase using the hostess code on the screen. I just had one more quick announcement for you. For anybody who does participate in this month's Stamp Club, you will get entered into my giveaway. So for this month's giveaway, January of 2017, I am going to be giving away the Special Reason stamp set. This is one of our new stamp sets out of the Occasions catalog. It is on page 42. This is a clear mount stamp set, so it is the red rubber, brand new. So please be sure you do leave your contact information when you place your order so I know who to thank, and are able to enter you into the giveaway. I will be using random.org to choose my winner, and I will also be including a free pack of dimensionals for all participants in Stamp Club this month. So please keep that in mind as well, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.